Today we're going to be talking with Josh Ketry, who's a young man that's got into birding in a big way in the last several years. He's out there almost every day finding different birds and reporting them through eBird and through the Buffalo Ornithological Society and on Facebook. And we're really lucky to talk to someone that's actually out in the field. And I think he's out in the field today. Hey Josh, looks like you're out in your car.
That's right. It's raining out here. I'm at Amherst State Park chasing a sedge wren, which would actually be a lifer for me. So pretty excited.
That's pretty cool. I think you're going to see it?
I don't know. There's a bunch of people here looking for it, but by the looks of it outside, it's raining pretty hard. So I don't know. I'm gonna really put my rain gear on and my boots on, see if I can track it down.
Well, look, it's good to see you and talk to you. This whole series of videos that I'm doing is about staying connected with local birders, talking about the local birding scene. And I know that you've been very active for the last several years. You've had some great activities. A couple of things I want to talk to you about involve places in Buffalo that a lot of us are familiar with, like the Union Ship Canal.
Union Ship Canal, you said?
Yeah. So I know that you were out there quite a lot earlier in the spring. And is that a good place to bird?
You know, I kind of stumbled on it because I would bird before work, and in the middle of winter, like getting out of my car, with 15 minutes of time isn't something I have a lot of time to do. So I would just bird the edges of the water and kind of go back there. And last year I went back there and in the evening looking for woodcock just to see if they were back there. And I had I think in the teens, the number of teens back there of woodcock. And it ended up being a really good spot. I saw my first Erie County short-ear owl there. I saw my first Erie County pheasant there. And I've had a lot of just strange birds. It reminds me because it's like a grassland that's along the lake, and there isn't too much habitat like that with grasslands along the lake. I saw my first Vesper sparrows there. It kind of reminds me of the Dunkirk Airport down in Dunkirk, where Gale gets a lot of really good birds. It's a big grassland along the lake, and it's kind of the same thing, but it's a little smaller. But the one cool thing is there's a channel that comes in off the main lake there. So you'll get loons, snowy owls, just things like that will come back there and sit along the lake edge there. So it's a pretty neat spot. It's kind of dynamic. There's not a lot of woods there, but there's a few spots that have like thick vines kind of and evergreens, like two little areas, and they'll collect sparrows there and towhees, things like that you wouldn't really expect to find in a grassland area. So I like the spot a lot. Last year there was nesting grasshopper sparrows that I found there in the summertime, which was, as far as I know, like the second record of nesting grasshopper sparrows outside of I forgot the other place, Tillman Road is where they nest in Erie County. And so in a long time, I don't know how long it goes back, but I think I looked back like 10 years and couldn't find any records. I kept it secret. I didn't post it on eBird or make it well known until after the nesting was over. They had I watched them raise their young and take food to their young, and there's at least two pairs there, so it's pretty cool to see that. So do you want to interrupt me with a question here, or should I just keep going?
I just want to say it's a really amazing place, and I really appreciate that you've made people aware that there's so many cool things going on there. I know that in years past, Tift used to have a lot of woodcocks. They've kind of declined a bit in the last years, and I think they've moved over to the Union Ship Canal area. It's such a great grassland, and it's so important because it's on the edge of the lake. And as you said,
right,
there's not many places like that. And I think it's a place that we really need to have a movement to protect. As you probably know, it's in the middle of an industrial park, and it's slowed down in terms of that kind of development lately. I think it's time to make a move to try to protect that grasslands for the very reasons that you're expressing, the birds that you're seeing. So other questions
I love that idea.
Other question I would ask is, what are some of your favorite birding places in Buffalo, and mostly Buffalo we're talking about right now, but you can expand.
Sure. Before we change topics here, I just want to say a couple of things.
Sure.
That grassland area there, I think it's a great idea to try to protect it. I think that not only could it be protected, but it could be enhanced. So like some of it's like real gravelly, and some of it has some trees that could be removed and really make it a true grassland kind of area.
Yep.
I think it could be enhanced. I was, not to get political, but they were going to put a marijuana growing plant there last year, and I'm all for safe legalization and all that. So I just don't think that it's smart to do it in a natural habitat. We have so many buildings in Buffalo where they could go and do that. Why take the only grassland in West New York? So I'm really happy that that didn't happen. Not for the political sense of it, but for the sense that obviously it left a really unique habitat. There's no habitat like that around. So if there's a movement to try to protect that, I'd be all about trying to be aboard that coalition for sure.
Well,
So
Josh, I agree with you with everything you said, including it'd be great to have legalized marijuana in New York State, but that's not the right place for it. We're trying to do other projects on the waterfront to create grasslands down near the Bell Slip. There's a whole area of grasslands there that we're trying to up the state into keeping green and keeping it as a shoreline grassland. So I think we have an opportunity to create some conservation and create a movement around it, and your voice would be very welcome in that.
And man, like I'm really happy that you're aboard this, because like all that you've done for Times Beach and everything, you're a really good champion for things like this. So it's awesome to see that you're not only aware of it, but you got your sights set on it. So that's really cool to see. I'm very happy to hear that. And anything I can do to help, just let me know.
Well, that's fantastic. There's so little shoreline and grassland shoreline in the Great Lakes. I mean, this is a real opportunity to do some serious conservation.
For sure. Now, you asked me the question, my favorite spots to bird in, the greater Buffalo area or whatever. I would say Times Beach was one of my favorites. And that, I know you put a lot of time and effort into restoring that, and got a little messed up because of the sage effects in recent years. But it's awesome because it's small, so you can do it like pretty fast, and it's dynamic. It has wetlands, grasslands, and forest on a lake, and it's surrounded on all sides by habitat that's not really appealing to birds in the sense, like a big wide open lake, a city. And so therefore any migrating birds, it's a really good migrant trap for them. So I love birding there. It's probably my favorite, but this year I haven't gone at all because it's been closed because of the damage from the waves coming in and crashing in and breaking up everything there.
It's such an important site, Josh, and you can bird there now. You can't go into certain parts of the nature preserve. You can still bird from the road, and you can bird on the side where Wilkerson Point is. And we're seeing a lot of great stuff there now. So don't hesitate to go down, but we really do a lot of work to vision what comes next, because we really don't know what comes next, because the flooding that's occurred because of the seiches damaged breakwalls. It's not going away. We've lost our boardwalks. Don't know what's going to happen next, but we need to have a plan and move forward in a really reasonable, productive way for birds.
Yeah, the Army Corps of Engineers got to be brought in to recalibrate those walls out there. I mean, those were built after the Great Depression during the work, whatever that was called, where they put people to work. They built those walls out there, but they need to be reinforced big time because climate's changing, and those sage effects are not going away. They're coming. It looks like they're coming regularly, almost like 3 or 4 times a year now. So
we've had actually 6 major seiches since last Halloween. Now there's a couple of different sets of breakwalls. There's the dike that surrounds Times Beach, which has been damaged, which is an Army Corps of Engineers project. And there's also the harbor breakwalls, which have all been very damaged. Corps of Engineers is looking at it. They're doing some studying right now, and we hope that they're going to come up with a real solution for us, because if we don't fix it, the flooding not only hits Times Beach, but it goes over Furman, it goes downtown. Canal Side has been flooded with these historic high water levels in the seiches. So we're going to keep at it.
Yeah, like LaSalle Park, which is one of my other favorite places in Buffalo to bird for sure. That is more like for water birds, and they have the breakwall. I scope the breakwall there a lot. That is closed right now. I can't go there because the sage tore up the whole road and everything. Same thing with Erie Basin. It gets the road gets damaged. So those are some of my other favorites. My one favorite that I've been doing a lot this year is Beaver Island. I don't know if that's considered Buffalo or Grand Island or whatever, but it's close enough where I think it's very underbirded. And it took me a while to understand just how big and how vast that park is. It's a lot bigger than just the little area around the island there. There's like so much dynamic habitat to that place. I found places there with woodcock and places there with winnowing snipe, and I found a whole area of wetlands I didn't even know existed that was part of the park. I thought it was like separate, but it's actually part of Beaver Island. So I've been going there and just trying to understand the park as well as I can. So that's another one of my favorites is Beaver Island, which is on Grand Island, the southern tip of Grand Island there.
We also have the West River Parkway, which runs the length of Grand Island. You have the whole Niagara River Greenway. I mean, it's such a great birding area. It's a globally significant, important birding area, and all of those sites are great all year round. Here's,
it's awesome. Yeah.
We're kind of getting to the end of our conversation here, but what I want to talk to you about is a little bit about hawks. You've been very involved in looking at the hawks as they migrate in the spring and the fall. What can you tell us about them? Why are they here, and what are we seeing?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I was very involved in them. Like I really enjoy going to hawk watches, but my expertise in the hawks I'm a novice. You know, I'm just learning. So what I would do is, like, last year I went to Texas to the hawk watch in Corpus Christi there, and I go to Braddock Bay a lot. There's a bunch of really good birders in Braddock Bay, Greg Lawrence and the whole team up there, and I would just kind of sit and observe and see what key field marks they're looking for and things like that. So, and then I would go to our hawk watch on Lake Erie here, and there's great birders there, you know, Alec and Sue and everybody there that's birding there, and get tips from them and kind of learn how to understand it. And basically my understanding is hawks don't like to migrate across large bodies of water. So they're coming from south to north, they hit the Great Lakes, and they kind of, you know, they spiral along the edges of the Great Lakes. So you set up these hawk watches along the edges there to kind of watch them. This year, it wasn't very good for me at any of the hawk watches, except for one day I was there. It was an okay day. There was a decent amount of vultures moving through and some raptors moving through. And then a storm, like a really big storm, was coming on the horizon. And in the 15 minutes, right as the storm was coming, like, it was sunny behind me, and then in front of me was like this big black cloud coming. There were thousands of raptors just coming in right. It was awesome. It was so cool to see them all just like running for their lives, basically, in front of the storm. And I mean, I had rough-legged hawks and, you know, accipiters and everything. Everything was coming through, but tons and tons of vultures. I videotaped a little bit of it, and it was just super cool. It was probably the most memorable birding moment of my year so far, was seeing all those raptors come in on the Great Lakes. That was on the Lake Erie Hawk Watch, just south of Buffalo here. So,
Josh, I was lucky enough to be at the Buffalo Outer Harbor when that storm hit, and it was one of the most dramatic storms I've ever seen. It went from sunny skies, this big black bank of clouds moved through, walls of rain. And when it hit the harbor, it was like being inside a washing machine. I was in my car.
Right.
That's my car. I couldn't see the front of my car. I could barely see the windshield just on the other side. It was a tremendous storm, but we did see a lot of hawks that came through just before that. People don't know that hawks do migrate through here, and we have wonderful, you can see hundreds of them at a time. I really appreciate your visiting with us, and we'll stay in touch, and it's a great way to stay in touch with folks, and good luck on your bird today.
Yeah, good luck with this, and I'm going to go see if I can find a sedge wren. All right?
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah. See ya.